All things are possible. How's everybody doing? Good to see you all. Good to see you all. So yes, all things are possible. That's the title of our message series. And I think it was fitting that at some point we would do a series called All Things Are Possible. We end our service every week singing those words, all things are possible. And after we've meditated and celebrated and sung, we walk out into this world and into our week knowing that all things are possible. And so we wanted to delve into that idea a little deeper. And what we did, Pastor Yolanda and I came across a book, E Squared by Pam Rao. And we said, this is a beautiful book to support everyone as we talk about this idea of all things are possible. How many people have started reading E Squared? Beautiful. Now, you can start reading it now. You can read to the end if you want. What we're going to do this month, the sermons will support you as you're doing the experiments in the book. Okay, and I will reference the book, and I'll reference some things that Pam Rao talks about in the book. But I'm also going to bring in some supporting information and some supporting ideas. So as you're reading the book, you can also listen to the messages this month, and it'll sort of reinforce what's happening. So as you're reading it, are you enjoying it? Are you having some good times with the experience? It's pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. And what I love about the book is she makes it very practical and easy to understand this idea that our thoughts create our reality. That's the bottom line. She touches on quantum physics, but she makes it so practical and so easy to understand because, you know, that's pretty lofty and high and out there. Scientists understand it, but it hasn't yet trickled down to where we, as the regular folks, understand it and live from it. Now, the thing that I loved about E Squared was that I felt like E Squared is the perfect book for this post-secret world that we live in, right? How many people have read The Secret or seen the movie? Right. And you know, people were like fired up with The Secret. Oh my God, The Secret, blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, they were on Oprah and all those wonderful things. But what I've come to learn and see is that all it was a lot of excitement. Like, many people's lives didn't change. Or maybe for a moment you had an experience of some different things, but then life went back to normal, right? It kind of went back to sucking. Now it's right? So it's like, okay, we understand, wow, the law of attraction, this is powerful, but it's still not happening for me. And so this is what I love about E Squared because it gives us some very practical things that we can use, some very practical experiments and ways to use these ideas of attraction. And, you know, the topic which we already know for today's sermon is God ideas. And I actually toyed with also naming this message Beyond the Law of Attraction. Because what we're really doing, and when we're talking about all things are possible, we're actually going to move beyond the law of attraction. And there's a couple of reasons why. I want to share a quote from an author that I love. His name is George Carey. He's the father of homeopathic medicine. He's also, as you know, I'm big into and love astrotheology. He's an author that you really have to look at if you want to study astrotheology. And so in one of his seminal texts, it's called God, Man, the Word Made Flesh, he says something that's very powerful to me. And when I read it some time ago, it arrested me. This was in 1920 when he wrote this. He says, a post-mortem examination of some of the wrecks along the shores of the troubled sea of science discloses a belief that the ego is an individual who, through knowledge of its divine origin, may draw unto itself all things it may desire. But as fast as the sleepers awaken, they see that each ego is only part of one stupendous whole, that does not draw unto itself anything. That there is no law of attraction for the eternal substance is everywhere present, and each one uses exactly that portion prepared for him from everlasting unto everlasting. George Carey says there is no law of attraction. Interesting. Now, what is he really saying? What is he inviting us to understand? See, when we come to The Secret, when we come to these ideas about the law of attraction, that's that idea that allows us to see, as he writes, that through knowledge of our divine origin, we may draw unto ourselves all things that we desire. That's the first step. But that's kind of a basic understanding and a base knowledge, and it's time for us to raise up our vibration. Because when we begin to understand that we're actually connected to the all, that we're a part of one stupendous whole, as George Carey says, what are you attracting if you're connected to it? And so this is where it's not really about having faith or believing that something will happen. You understand that you're connected to the thing. Example, whatever's in your refrigerator right here and right now, in your home, it's a part of you. It's a part of your home. Now, you don't have to hold it to know that you have a piece of chicken, right? You know that you have a piece of chicken in the refrigerator. You're connected to it. It's a part of you. And when you need it, you get up and go and get it. But you don't have to carry it around with you on the subway when you're at work. Make sure that this is the idea. And this is why we're raising the vibration and moving up a little higher to understand that actually I'm not attracting anything to me. I'm simply getting what I'm already connected to when I need it or when I desire it. And so, in another book that I love, Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawkins, he speaks about consciousness this way, this thing that we're connected to. And he says that the individual human mind is like a computer terminal connected to a giant database. The database is human consciousness itself, of which our own consciousness is merely an individual expression, but with its roots in the common consciousness of all mankind. This database is the realm of genius, because to be human is to participate in the database. Everyone, by virtue of his or her birth, has access to genius. The unlimited information contained in the database has now been shown to be readily available to anyone in seconds, at any time, and in any place. This is indeed an astonishing discovery, bearing the power to change lives, both individually and collectively, to a degree never yet anticipated. So this is what we're talking about. We're connected, and I love to use the technology analogy because we understand that. We're connected to this database that's infinite. Genius is available to you right now. Whatever answer, whatever idea, whatever thing you need, you're connected to it. Again, just like you're connected to that piece of chicken in your refrigerator. I know, I'm a vegan talking about chicken. But you get the point. Whatever that thing is in your refrigerator, you're connected to it, and you don't have to hold on to it or wonder if it's going to be there. It's there, and you know it. That's the connection that you have to the universe. And so I began to think about that idea and thinking about, well, what does that really mean? What does that really mean? And this is where the title of God Ideas came to me, because I thought about it. I said, well, you know, many times we want money in our lives, right? But what I began to ask myself, well, what's really underneath that, right? Because money is the effect. When we're desiring money, we're desiring security, we're desiring comfort, we're desiring to be free from worry, we're desiring ease, or maybe you want a home. And again, I ask, well, what's underneath that? Well, when you desire a home, you desire shelter, you desire covering, security, to be free from worries. You're desiring relaxation and peace. Maybe you want a spouse or a partner or a new love relationship. What are you really desiring when you're asking for that? You want companionship, fellowship, friendship, to love, to be loved. You want family and you want unity. Now, what's interesting is, here in this world, the things that we can see, taste, touch, smell, or experience, that's a world of effects. It's not the cause. But these things that are underneath what we desire, security, comfort, ease, shelter, covering, fellowship, friendship, love, those are causes. And what I'm inviting you to think about in this moment is to, at whatever it is that you're desiring, look for the thing under the thing. Right? So you're saying, I want a man, I want a woman in my life. You're saying, I want X amount of money in my life. I want a new career in my life. What will that thing actually give you? What will the experience be? What will the feeling of that experience be? I'm hearing Reverend Ike, feel into the feeling. I love that. Right? Feel into the feeling, because that's what you want. What does that feeling of companionship feel like? What does that feeling of security and shelter feel like? Because the other thing that I recognize is that when we get into the thing under the thing, and we cultivate that feeling, well, we can also recognize that actually God is those things, right? God is not money, God is not a person, God is not a car, God is not a house, but God is shelter in the time of storm. God is peace. God is your covering. God is love itself. And so we begin to focus on that, recognizing that the cause, the thing, the all in all behind everything, that's what it is, and that's what we're connected to. As we focus on that, we can bring that into our lives. Because we understand that we're intertwined and connected and inseparable from the all. Inseparable. Again, we're connected to that that giant database. And we always have access to it. And so God ideas come when we focus on the thing under the thing. God ideas come when we focus on the cause instead of the effect. Don't focus on the home. Focus on the feeling underneath that desire, that security that you want. Don't focus on the new man or the new woman. Focus on what that companionship and that love and the beauty of that relationship feels like. That's where you put your focus on. Because what I understand is that then the God idea will bring it through perfectly. See, if you focus on what that brother will look like or what that sister will look like, you might get the thing that you saw, but it's not going to give you that comfort and that security and that ease that you want. But you trust that the infinite universe, the genius mind, the infinite intelligent mind, knows what you're attracted to. And so knows that that man or that woman that you desire, you will find attractive and sexy and beautiful and all those things, because the infinite mind is intelligent. You don't have to worry about that, right? It knows that the home will have the bedrooms that you need to support your family, whatever size it is. It knows the type of kitchen that you like. It's intelligent. It knows all of those things. You focus on the feeling. And so then, as we begin to think and live from that place that knows that we are absolutely connected to the causes, you know that you're connected to security, you know that you're connected to safety and ease and peace and love and joy, well then, you experience the effects. You experience the new man or the new woman. You experience the home. You experience the cars. You experience the new career. Whatever it may be, you experience healing in your body. This is how it happens. Now, as we think about this idea of God ideas, as we think about getting beyond the law of attraction, and actually there is no law of attraction. I'm not attracting anything if I'm already connected to it. I'm just simply going into the refrigerator of the universe and getting what was already mine. The question came to me, well, what about visualization? Because this is a tool that we think about, right? As you picture something in your mind and focus on it, you can have that experience. And again, I think this gets back to this idea. Michael Beckwith says that visualization is the beginning phase of metaphysics. And in many ways, the ideas that came to us through The Secret, it got us started. It turned the key on our ignition. But if you just turn the key on your ignition in the car and just sit there in the parking lot, that's really not beneficial. But you got to start the car. And so I believe that's what that did. See, visualization, again, it's this idea that we picture something in our minds and it comes to be. Has anyone ever experienced that, had that experience where you visualize something and, in that way and boom, it came. Maybe over time, maybe immediately. The interesting thing to me about visualization, where it's limited, is that I call visualization mind ideas versus God ideas. Why? Because visualization requires, you can only visualize what you've already seen or experienced somewhere. I'm reminded of an internship I had. I shared this a few months back. But the motto of that internship was, people can't be what they don't know exists. And the idea was, as high school students, we were being exposed to different careers to see, oh wow, this is possible. And I see, folks operating in this career and operating in this way. I never knew I could do that. And then, of course, that can impact what major you take in college, et cetera, et cetera. But with and that's really a visualization tool, right? Because then I could intern with an attorney, and now I have a sense of what that looks like, and I can meditate on that and achieve that goal through visualization. But it's limited, because it's only based on what you've seen. You had either seen it on TV, or maybe you saw someone else experience it, or you read about it. Wonderful, but it's limited. And the reason why I say that is because it also, not only is it required on what we've seen, but it requires work on our part. Now, the difference with God ideas, of course, are unlimited because it's not based on what your present paradigm or situation is. This is what I love about God ideas. We call them miracles sometimes, right? When you need something to happen, see, our life works linearly. We go from A to B to C to D, right? D being our end result. But many times, when we're at A and don't know how we're going to get to D, we need something to jump in or step in to get us to that point, right? Now, in the mind of God, in the realm of the universe, everything is complete. It's already done. That's how it sees it as done. And so it will bring forth an idea that's beyond your A to B to C to D for it to happen. And again, we call that a miracle, but that's really a God idea. That's the way the universe works. Infinite possibilities. See, in visualization, we're not operating in infinite possibility. They're limited, no matter how, it's beautiful. The more you read and the more you study and expose yourself to things and read magazines, well, you're increasing your level of possibility, your individual possibility, but that's still limited possibility. The universe, God, the intelligent mind, the divine mind, deals in infinite possibilities. I'm thinking about the Wright brothers. They were coming to me this morning. If they had lived in that idea of if they tried to visualize based on what they had seen, we wouldn't have planes, right? That was an idea it was a God idea. It came out. It wasn't present in the earth in any way, shape, or form. That was a God idea. So what are the attributes of a God idea? One of the things I love about God ideas is that they always come with supply. See, a God idea, the very things that you need to accomplish whatever that idea was that popped up within your spirit, all of the resources needed come with it. The other thing I love about a God idea is I said, these mind ideas, they require work. Well, God ideas only require surrender, willingness, and service. The other thing I love about a God idea is that it perpetuates itself, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. And also, God ideas are sustainable, ever-giving, repeatable, and prospering. Sustainable, ever-giving, repeatable, and prospering. So I want to give you a little example of that, because one of the things I love, if you want to understand how the Creator creates, I say look at its creation. And my mind went to an orange tree. It took me to nature, because nature is our greatest teacher, and whatever we see in nature is true as us. So I thought about an orange tree. Now we can all agree that an orange tree is a natural machine. It's a natural machine created by the Creator. Now an orange tree starts as a seed. It's planted in the ground. That's it, tiny little seed, full of potential. Now the universe provides all that it needs to grow. The universe itself provides the nutrients and the minerals in the soil. And though that's God itself being seen as those things for that seed to grow while it's deep in the earth. Right? Not only that, but the sun and the rain needed for the tree to grow healthy and strong, those are God appearing as those things. Again, the seed is the idea. And everything that's needed for that idea to come forward is provided. That's God as those things. But then the tree grows healthy and strong and begins to blossom. Beautiful orange blossoms. I don't know if you've ever experienced that. I lived in Florida for 3 years, and it's a beautiful thing to be able to see orange trees blossom. But that's not the end of the story. I mean, that would be enough, right? I mean, flowers, we love flowers. But that's not even the end of the story. After they blossom, the beauty of God, of course, is manifested as those flowers, but then the flowers give way to beautiful, sweet oranges that we can enjoy and share and make dishes with and give to people and purchase. But here is where the God idea really shows up. Because again, I say it's sustainable, it's repeatable, it's prospering. Every orange that comes off of that tree has the capacity to do the very same thing all over again. Right? Yeah, we gotta sit with this, right? From that one seed comes hundreds of seeds with the capacity to do the same thing over and over and over and over again, and the tree doesn't have to do anything. The tree doesn't have to get on its knees and beg and say, oh God, please let me prosper and let things come forward through me and let me manifest, please. No, it happens. And the universe provides everything for it to happen. But not only that, it creates this repeatable process that then those oranges, not only do they nourish, not only do they feed us, but then those seeds can be planted in the ground and start the same process over, while this one is still doing the same thing over and over and over again. That's what God ideas do. Oh my God, it's deep. And we really have the capacity to do that ourselves. Pastor Yolanda and I talk about it all the time. And I haven't found the right word to use for this, but I'm excited that in this age, in this time, we seem to be living in, as humans, this idea of multiplicity. Like, we're doing exactly what the orange tree does. On one level, we understand that in our family structure, I'm a son, I'm a father, I'm a nephew, I'm an uncle. We have all of these different roles, right? We understand that. But what I'm loving is seeing in the earth now is that that's extended beyond just our family status. But, for instance, I'm a pastor, I'm an IT engineer, I'm a musician, I'm a producer, I'm a songwriter, I'm an author. And that doesn't make me special, right? Those are simply God ideas manifesting. We celebrate people like Jay-Z, who is an entrepreneur and an artist and, an author. He's doing all these different things where there was a time, people like Jim Thorpe, who played multiple sports, or Paul Robeson, who was considered that quintessential Renaissance man, they were seen as different and special. But what I'm finding in the earth is that if you think about your life, yourself, right now, even if you're not doing those things simultaneously, you are a God idea. Right? You may be a carpenter and an actor and, and a babysitter. I don't know. You have, all these different things that you're doing because you're actually operating as that God idea. The same machine that we talked about in this orange tree or any other life-giving tree, it's the truth of you. And so when we think about God ideas, the question becomes, well, how do you allow those to come forward? Well, again, we have to understand that no longer are we attracting things to us because we're connected to it. And connection can't be severed, right? You can make mistakes. The connection is still there. You can make what you thought was a bad choice. The connection is still there. You can go down the wrong street. The connection is still there. You can cuss somebody out. The connection is still there. You can lie. The connection is still there. Oh my God, I need y'all to hear this. It does not matter what you've done or what you will do. The connection is still there. But how do we tap into God ideas? Well, it comes through prayer and meditation, and it comes through visioning. Last week I talked about the idea that, in prayer and meditation, what we're doing is we're tapping into recognizing that we're not just a body. In meditation, as we had this beautiful meditation experience today, we connected to that part of ourselves that truly is eternal. Because these bodies are limited. We're going to get rid of these bodies and put on a new set of soul clothing in whatever our transition is and wherever we go from this place, whatever dimension or place that may be. But you're unlimited. And so by tapping into that meditative place, that place of affirmative prayer, you're reinforcing that connection, and you're reinforcing the idea that, I'm more than this body. That's how I'm able to be a God idea on the earth. But then we talk about visioning, and visioning is something that's very important to this church. Visioning is how this church came into being. Visioning is something, the life visioning process is something that was created by Reverend Michael Beckwith of Agape. And I just want to share some of the key questions that you ask yourself in visioning. And if you have something to write it down, or you can come back to the message, we'll post it tomorrow. Because if you want to tap into the God ideas, and you may be saying, you know what, there are things that I want in my life. I understand now. I hear you. I get it. I was focusing on wanting the house, or I was focusing on wanting the relationship, but now I get to focus on the thing under the thing. But as I focus on the thing under the thing, I need direction. I need to know who to call or where to go, or how does that actually work. And so these visioning questions will begin to lead you down that path. And the first question in visioning is, what is God's idea of itself as you? Because you have to understand that you're a God being. You're literally God being on the earth. You're an individual expression of the all. So that thing that I'm connected to, that thing that has created me, that thing that sustains me, what is its idea of itself as me? Yes. Powerful question. And you sit with that question. And the next question comes, what must I become in order for this vision to emerge? As you've heard the answer to that question, and the God idea comes forward, and it could be a whisper. For me, in December, as I asked that question, all I heard was Celebration Spiritual Center. And I said, really, God? Because I wasn't trying to do that. I was trying to focus on my music. You know, I had already left the church that I had previously created and was moving forward in my vision to you know, just do my music and do workshops and all of that good stuff. And when I said, what is God's idea of itself as my life, I heard Celebration Spiritual Center. And so then the next question, what must I become in order for this vision to emerge? Now, I already said, God ideas only require surrender, willingness, and service. So somewhere in that what must I become, it's in that family. But then this next question, this is the tough one. What must I let go of? What thoughts, what beliefs, what habits, what patterns must I let go of in order for this vision to emerge? Which takes us back to surrender, yes, yes?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. What must I let go of? Now, if you're anything like me, normally the first thing I need to let go of is how I think it's supposed to happen. Right? Because I'll have the vision, and then I want to dictate to the how, to the all that is, how it should go. I feel like I need to dictate, okay, well, you know, here's my step 1 and step 2, step 3, and so on. What must I let go of? First is the how. What I must let go of is I know it all, right? And I'm so smart and so intelligent that I can figure this out. That's the first thing. But then beliefs. Many of us struggle with the belief of, are we worthy of this thing? You want the new relationship, but I don't know, maybe I don't really deserve it. You want the new career, but you're struggling with whether you're worthy of it. That's a belief that must be let go of. Habits. Well, it's the same thing. I had a beautiful experience this week. I was going through this exercise to name 10 things that you did exceptionally well this week. It was a very powerful exercise. And the first 10 things that came to my mind were all the things that I didn't do well this week. I struggled. I literally struggled to list 10 things that I did exceptionally well. And I actually ended up with about 5 things, honestly. And I recognized, oh, okay, here's my work. And so now this is something that I'm doing daily. To begin to celebrate and recognize that, yes, each day we do something exceptionally well. I say that to say that many times our habits, we have a habit to talk bad about ourselves or talk down about ourselves. Maybe that's what happened in our family. You know, there's something that happens in a lot of families where someone may have acknowledged you as a child. Oh, she's so pretty, she's so precious. And the parent would say, yeah, well, you should have seen her last night when she didn't clean up her room, right? And so then we've taken that on, and then as adults, when somebody celebrates us, immediately say, oh, well, you know, they'll compliment your dress or what you're wearing. Oh, well, yeah, this is old, and, you know, I wish I had more money to buy new things. They just complimented you. Again, a habit. What habit must we let go of? And patterns. It's the same thing. What patterns? Things that we always do that it's time to let go of. And then the last question. What gifts, skills, talents, and abilities do I already possess in order for this vision to come forward? This is important because this is the difference between a God idea and a mind idea. Again, I said when the God idea comes forward, it also comes with the supply. We hear in church many times, and growing up I would hear in church, you know, God never puts more on you than you can bear. Which is, you know, true. And it's a churchy statement, but it's true. Right? But I think about that statement as it relates to this. That God is not going to put a vision in you that you cannot accomplish. That's right. God is not going to put an idea in you that you cannot accomplish, that you're not already prepared for. But sometimes we have to ask ourselves the question, what gifts, skills, talents, and abilities do I already possess to put in service of this vision? And it's beautiful that it comes after the let go of, because you've already let go of talking bad about yourself. You've already let go of, I'm not worthy. You've already let go of, I make mistakes. You've already let go of a pattern of not honoring yourself. And so now here you get to honor yourself. What are my gifts? What are my skills? What are my abilities? The other thing I love about it, and it wasn't in my notes, but the other thing that I love about it is it's usually the thing that comes easiest to you. Right? right? It's not some big, amazing, lofty thing, or, you know, if the idea comes and there's study that's required, there's something within you that's already resonating with that thing. There's something within you that's going to make that journey very simple and very easy. So you don't have to search deep within yourself for, oh, well, you know, some great, amazing skill, because, again, what our minds do, our minds begin to take us to, oh, well, you know, Susan, she's great at this, but I'm not. Oh, John is great at this, but I'm not. Again, that's where our minds try to take us. But just think about the things that you do with ease. Many times people will talk about in prosperity principles and success principles to think about, you know, what is the thing that you would love to do, you know, even if you weren't paid for it, right? It's the same principle. That there's something within you that just happens naturally, it happens easily. You know, I'm thinking about someone I know, I used to say she was the nicest person on earth. She just is. I don't know where she gets it from, but she's a stewardess. She travels internationally, and she goes to Japan all the time. She's just one of the nicest people on earth, and so of course, she's going to easily and effortlessly succeed in a career that requires you to be nice to people beyond, you know, just sort of the friendly banter. And it's something that comes easy for her, and she found that she loves it. She just feeds off of it. It's the perfect career for her. What gifts, skills, talents, and abilities do I already possess? And again, don't make it hard. It's the simplest thing. It's the thing that if somebody said it to you, you're like, oh, that ain't nothing. That thing. That's the one. Right there. Right? That one that you want to quickly dismiss, that's it. And you start from there. So I invite everyone to stand in this moment. As we recognize in this moment that we are connected to the field, we are connected to the all in all. Pam Brown, she calls it the FP in the book, the field of infinite possibilities. That's what we're connected to. And there in that field of infinite possibilities are all answers. There in that field of infinite possibility are God ideas. And I don't know about you, but I'm interested in God ideas for my life. Because my mind ideas, they're limited. They're nice, they're cute, and you can create a lot of things from those, but they're limited. And I need unlimited ideas in my life. I need sustaining ideas in my life. I need ever-giving ideas in my life. I need prospering ideas in my life. I need ideas that come with the supply and that are easy and effortless, that all it requires is for me to say yes to the universe. All it requires for me to say, yes, I'm willing. I don't know what it looks like, but I've hit this bump in the road, and my back is against the wall, and I need something different. I'm willing. And then service. I'm willing to give of myself exactly as I am. Exactly as I am. And serve the world. Mother, Father God, we are grateful and thankful for this new awareness. We are grateful and thankful to recognize that we have risen up just a little bit higher, above this law of attraction, above these ideas of visualization, to recognize that there's nothing to attract to us. Because we're connected to everything. We're connected to you, and we recognize that you are cause. You are not the effects, you are not the things, you are not the cars, the houses, the relationships, or the people, but you are security. You are love, you are ease, you are joy, you are peace. And as we recognize that we are connected to all that you are, well, we can experience all that you are in and as our life and in and all around the world. And so we bring these questions to our prayer and to our meditation. What is God's idea of itself as my life, as me? We bring these questions and we listen. What must I become in order for this vision to emerge? We bring these questions. What must I let go of? What thoughts, what habits, what patterns must I let go of in order for this vision to emerge? And then finally we ask ourselves, what gifts, skills, talents, and abilities do I already possess? I'm grateful and thankful in this moment, God, because I know, as the word says, that ask and it shall be given, seek and ye shall find, knock and the door shall be open, as surely as we have asked these questions. Oh my God, the answer must come. Why? Because we are connected to you. Why? Because we are in a relationship with you. Why? Because you are always speaking to us. Why? Because at every moment in our lives we are in communication with you. the all in all because you truly are all that is. There is nothing but you. And so we know that your voice will show up in a billboard sign, your voice will show up in a conversation in Starbucks, your voice will show up in a song on the radio, your voice will show up in a smile, your voice will show up in the life of a child, your voice will show up in any way imaginable and beyond that imagination. And so we open up our eyes, we open up our spiritual eyes, we open up our spiritual mind, we open up our spiritual ears to hear that eternal broadcast that is always broadcasting the vision, the God ideas. My God, I am grateful and thankful for the God ideas that are present in this room. That each and every person here is a creative, natural machine. Just as we celebrate and honor the orange tree and we can watch its process, well, I celebrate and honor the process of these beautiful creations, these beings, these God beings that are here, present here and now. And I'm grateful for the ways in which you will begin to speak to them. Whispering so softly, whispering with love, pushing them forward into their greatness. Together we lift up our voices and we say amen, amen, ashe, ashe, and so it is. So it is.